everybody. I know you did a little bit of breathing, but let's continue for another minute or two. And then we'll transition to embracing horse. Thank you. Once you feel centered well enough, checking through your body for any spots of tension, feel that cascade of relaxation. Sometime in the next minute or so, when you're ready, transition to embracing horse. Check in everybody's embracing horse at home. How are your feet? Are your knees rounded out? How's your tuck? Can't quite see it through the lens, but check in on it for yourself. straighten the legs, lower the hands, circle the arms up, inhale. And press the palms down to exhale. Just a gentle reminder, traditionally with Neikang, eyes open in embracing horses. I was definitely an eyes closed person, but as you know, just try to practice it a little bit both ways so that it doesn't feel totally foreign to you to just have that soft gaze. It's relaxed. It's not, I mean, if you'll see me, I'm doing this, I'm just kind of checking the time, but it's a soft, relaxed forehead, relaxed gaze, kind of fuzzy through the fingers somewhere out there on the floor. So it's not, you know, awake, but it's not full on eyes closed either. So just a reminder to play around with eyes open. Some people are sticklers in Black Sash test for eyes open, some aren't, but you know, it's sometimes like, what do you mean I can't have my eyes closed? So, you know, just doing my due diligence, putting that out there. So, Senior Head Instructor Fig told me that you spent some time more on the minor kicking section up to the brush knee push punch downward. Is that correct?
Yes.
Does that sound familiar? Okay, so what I want to do one time together at a very gentle, don't stress the legs out just for sequence. Let's go through the whole second section together. You will see how close we are to the end. You're almost done. So again, just kind of continue to warm up and change the legs from standing in one position to moving around. If I could have Mr. Schwind trade places and then the greens kind of shift over one, that way you'll have somebody on both sides of you through the whole thing. And yeah, so if you don't know it, and if you get to a point where you don't, it's fine to just kind of, you know, that's totally cool. All right, let's go ahead and do callbacks. And again, this is not about perfection or how deep your stances are. This is just to map out sequence and continue our warm-up for just a couple more minutes. Thank you. Embrace tiger, return to mountain.
Embrace tiger.
Grasp the bird's tail.
Grasp the bird's tail.
Oh, I just noticed handrails are going up on the door. Huh. Diagonal single whip. Good. Looking at the fist under the elbow. Repulse monkeys. One. Repulse monkeys. Two. Repulse monkeys. Three. Slant flying. Lift hands. White crane spreads wings. Brush knee push. Needle at sea bottom. Fan through back. Turn around, strike with back fist. Hidden hand punch. Grasp the bird's tail. Single whip.
Single whip.
Transition to cloud hands. Cloud hands one. Cloud hands two. Cloud hands three. Single whip. Pat high horse. Separate right foot. left foot. Try not to get ahead. Turn. Strike with heel, left.
Strike with heel left.
Good. Brush knee push. Brush knee push. Brush knee, punch downward.
Down.
Here's the new stuff, so just wing it. Turn around, strike with back fist.
Turn around.
Just like the earlier one, just comes from a different place. Hidden hand punch. Strike with heel, right. Hit the tiger, a little one, to the left. Good, hang in there, greens. Hit the tiger, right. It's gonna face the door. Strike with heel, right. You're gonna cross your left foot in front, so that you can kick, to the right. Okay, box the tiger's ears. Strike with heel, left. Turn. Step with the left, and then strike with heel, right. Right. Yep. I was watching and I lost my mouth. Hidden hand punch. Withdraw and push. Cross hands. Feet together. Close, right? You're close. You're close to the end. Yes, yes, yes. Not that I have to justify occasionally wobbling, but I was really watching your feet, and then I was kind of like not paying attention to where I was. Woo! So it happens. See, even instructors. So anyway, any questions before we dive into the minor kicking section and how today I'd like to kind of work on how we get out of it. Any questions about any of those moves up to then so far? No? All right, so what I'd like to do is I'd like to see the minor kicking section so I can just kind of see how you're doing and see if there's anything I can provide that will help you with that. So I'd like to see everyone start from pat high horse, and I will call the names, and I'm not going to torture anybody and make you stand on one leg all crazy, but I'm going to kind of hold my next move until everyone's kind of at the same spot. Okay, so separate right foot. And you can, the whole move is put the foot down and close the door. There we go. You're good, you're good. Yeah, just clarification. So separate right, I'm not leaving you hanging here. Like separate right finishes here. Just so you don't get stranded on one leg. All right, separate left foot. Then turn, strike with heel left. It's okay if you need to put your foot down. Then brush knee push towards the office. Brush knee push. Other side. Then brush knee, punch downward. Okay. One more time. Start with that high horse. Separate right foot. Oh, hold on. Don't step forward this foot. There you go. There you go. You got it. Separate left foot. Follow the brown blacks ahead of you. And then turn, strike with heel, left. I got you, Mr. Payne. We'll get it. Brush knee push. brush, knee, push, other side. Brush, knee, punch downward. And release. Okay, questions? Anything that you'd like to see? Actually, I'll just do it. I'll do it and you can say. Questions? Comments? Concerns? Curiosities? I'm going to give you a little bit of practice time on this before we move on. And what I'd like for you to, this isn't a, do this, this is just a play. Play with it. You know, I'm big into trying to find the connectedness or trying to help students find the connectedness where they feel that one move flows in to the other. So I'm going to do it again in kind of an exaggerated way, which hopefully you can kind of see where my weight is through this move to help make sense of why do you step up with what foot when and all that kind of stuff. Because it can seem very arbitrary at first. Like, well, I do this and then I step up, but why would I do that? So if this goes right, I will exaggerate it and be able to put some words to it. I'm not 100% sure that that's how it's going to work out in practice, but execution. But so, my weight is here, and I'm going to, you know, my form may change to be not exactly right, but I want to exaggerate where my weight's happening. So by taking this step, that shift is what brings me forward, which is what brings these back, which is what then releases this heel. And then this heel coming, or this foot coming up, is what waves. So this is almost one big continuous movement. I mean, what? A continuous movement in Tai Chi? But, so wave, weight here, weight here. So that's kind of one circle that happens, if that's helpful, rather than a step and a swing and a then. And then here, everybody looks pretty good here. I feel the weight, tip this up. I step sideways and I shift, which is what closes this. And then I just kind of, even though my arms don't move, I keep this weight increasing, which is what allows this hand to come back. And then it feels very similar to the other one. So it's kind of one circle here, one circle here. And then here. And then however you need to get around here, I need my little kickstand. And then remember to look where you're kicking. And then sink, step back. And my weight shifts for this. And then don't forget to rock back. If I don't rock back, I'm stuck. So I rock back, which is what allows me to turn and wind up the arm. Shift, brush knee. Same thing here. It winds up very much like brush knee push, but instead this goes around and I go down. Notice I still have my tuck. I'm not doing this. I don't see anybody doing that, but just be mindful that it feels like brush knee push with a little bit more of an angle. So what I'd like for you to explore and see if you can find really is this. And then same thing on this side to here. And then that kind of rapid turn, but then get your balance here, or take that second before you try that kick. But it will actually make it easier for you if you can relax and find that circle of weight from foot, arms, foot up. You'll find a little like a needle in a record groove. So, does any questions about that? All right, yeah, just take a couple minutes to practice, and again, it may make your form weird, and that's okay. Working on weight and substantial and insubstantial can sometimes make the moves look a little funny, but it's worth the exercise. So give it a try and see if that makes any changes or any help. I'll come around and ask any questions. If you, I think everybody here mostly has the sequence, but if you need a copy, that's okay. Good, Mr. Payne. Yes. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yep, you got it, Mrs. Payne. Yes, yes, good.
Oh, wow.
You got it, you got it. And how did it feel different?
It smells right.
It looked good. That was like, oh, okay. Dallas, that's what I'm
excited. I forgot what I was doing.
That's okay. Huh? Very nice. Ah, you got your foot and your hands out of sync.
Oh,
So, no, it's okay. Okay, you're gonna like this. This makes it easier. So, stay on that back leg. So remember, I step here, bring the arms around, and then I step up, which is what brings the arms up front. So then I do my kick. Uh-huh. Then I step and close the door.
oh, okay.
Now, put a
I've
little more
already
weight.
stepped there, and it-
Right, so then put a little more weight in this foot, and that will make sense for this arm, this back arm to come around and back up, and then step up. Yep. And then, but it's just a little step, because I just put the ball of my foot down. There you go. Uh-huh. Shazam. Yep. Yes. Did that feel easier to get around that time?
Certainly did.
Good, 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 good. You're getting it. There's a rock in it, it's rings. One breath on the heel extension. Separates very symmetrical. Heel kicks, see they're both, they're the same height on the heel kicks.
Heel kicks,
So
okay.
these, yes,
Mhm.
that's correct. And then when you get to these, they're out and they're even.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Mhm. Good. And an advanced collection for you, I Spirit. I think it'll get, it'll change things a little bit. So, when you're doing your kicks, your I Spirit is there, but then it kind of goes blank zone, where you could look towards your brushing push. Does that make sense? The kind of spot where you're gonna go.
The head, like ice first, then body.
A little bit, it'll change how it feels. And it'll actually help the balance.
Oh, interesting, okay.
Yeah. That's just that little extra ground slash tip.
Kind of in the same vein, when we come back together, can we talk about the application of the different kicks a little bit?
Sure, absolutely, yes. So, any questions for you? How are you doing? Good. So 30 seconds.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. You got it. Good, Mr. Schmidt. There you go. All right, finish the one that you're on, Ting. Okay, how did that feel? Any questions? I got a question from Ms. Worthington. Anything come up? Anything better, anything worse?
Oh, it's
Good.
much better.
Thank you.
Much better.
You're very kind.
Good hints.
Good, so, I'm glad that was helpful. It always made it make more sense to me if I could feel what I was trying to do and feel that upper follows lower. And it's very hard to find that when you're breaking it down, which you have to break it down to learn the moves, otherwise, how are you gonna do it? So we have to say, okay, do this, turn this foot in, step here, do this, do this. But that breaks it down so much, it's very hard, you don't have that follow through that you do when you're doing the moving form. So any chance you get, carve out even 5 minutes on even the beginning section to really we've done this in day class, really feel that weight. Where is my weight? And see if you can find those shifts, even if it's just one move or a part of a move. I guarantee you if you can do that with one move or a part of a move, it will inform and affect every other move that you have in your, so it's not like, well, I gotta work on these kicks. By working on Embrace Tiger, Return to Mountain in that way, it's gonna affect your kicks. So, all practice is good practice. Okay, you said applications. So, the separate kick is not one of the 20 ones. I want to make sure, I think it's a punch. It's been so long since I've actually been able to contact another human being in this class. I believe it's a punch coming, and that's what this is. It's a block kick. So someone's coming at you, and you block the punch and kick them away.
And they're hit.
I believe so. I mean, there's a concept in Tai Chi or martial arts of, opened or closed punches. Open means if I punch and it leaves my body open. If I punch, cross, close off the body. So in the ward-off rights, when you punch, it closes them off. But there's a couple of them where the body is open. This technique, it would not matter open or closed body. So whether you got them here or you got them here, it's still equally effective. So it really wouldn't matter which punch you could kick them. I'll double, triple check that, but I believe it's block a punch, kick them away. Now, what the kick is it's a heel kick like you were kicking through a door. So this is Evil Bob here. You punch. It's a kick. Thank you, Bob. I can't. He doesn't. This doesn't work to do the other one, but it'd be a groin type kick. So it's an instep kick. We don't quite have time today, but we can get the pads out and practice with that. We've done that sometimes to practice the difference between a heel kick and an instep kick. Particularly the Tai Chi instep kick, which is wired a little differently than just a hi-ya. Nothing wrong with those. It's a different way of winding up that kick. Does that help? Okay. Other questions? Any other questions? Advanced tip that I gave Ms. Worthington is the concept of eye spirit. That sounds really esoteric. And in one of the, root starts in the feet, springs through the legs, expressed, managed in the waist, and expressed in the fingers, and eye spirit follows them all. But sometimes there's a spotting kind of thing that happens. So where I see this a lot, you hear us say, look in the direction of your kick, but then I don't go dead eye here, for example, and just kind of blindly go into my brush knee push. I look here, I'm going that way. And my eyes kind of start off in that direction. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And if you can start to play with that throughout your form, your balance will help, because if you're looking where you're going, it will help. It just helps because your body knows what to do. Whereas if I'm looking over here and I'm trying to step over here, it's pretty hard. So that's just that added little bit of refinement that also has the benefit of helping you in your technique. All right. And even in the first section, I'm here. Remember, the application. So a person's coming here, staying here. But now, someone's coming at me from here. And they're still coming at me. I might look down here because they go that way. Oh, they didn't go. Here and here. Now, here they come. I'm keeping my eye on them. There they go. Now they're here. So if you can kind of think about those applications and where your invisible opponent is, it will make your Tai Chi better.
And with the practice on the Maycomb, it's owl turns head type,
It's,
or is that totally related?
that, this is actually more imagining looking at something instead of trying to expand neck connections. But your range of motion is obviously going to get better with, with those owl turns heads. But this is more like, you'll hear Master Gohring, or at least he's taught us many, many times, if I'm trying to look over there, my body doesn't go first and then my head. It's like, go that way. You naturally turn your head first and then your body follows. And it will be the same kind of mechanism in Tai Chi, which again, that can get filed down when you're trying to break it down into a million pieces. Then it's 100 different succinct movements rather than I'm trying to go that way. I'm going that way. So that's a way you can kind of help smooth things out. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what I'd like to do is preview, work a little bit on how do you get out. Everyone stop. This feels like a weird, and team, okay, So how do you get out of it? It's a move, it's turnaround strike with back fist, which as you know, comes the first time you see it is after fan through back. It's identical, except you're coming from down here. So instead of here, you're here. But that's it. Otherwise it is verbatim the same. And for me, I try to find some similarities. And obviously this is very different than this, but my feeling that roundedness is still there. So when we get to practice, we can try this together. You can kind of go from fan through back to punch downward. And see, obviously there's a little bit of an upward trajectory here because I'm down here and I have to get up. So I stand up and I turn. And then I turn, just like right now it should feel identical. And then I step, block, strike, turn. This implied elbow strike is in the first one as well. So I'm here. I would be breaking my Tai Chi, but it's here. So, and you can watch it. Hey, there's an elbow. And then same thing here. I'm not leading with it, but that energy is there. And if I think about that, it helps me stay rounded and connected through it. So, you want to try it together?
Yes, ma'am.
Just
A question?
Is it the same elbow energy going back to the
Little less so, little less so. So this one here, this one I'm not, this just feels like I'm lifting this up a little bit rather than leading with it. But that's a really good question. You could make it that. But again, my attack is still, my person is coming from this way. So here would be a place, now I'm just winding up for another thing that way. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Really good question though. If you were doing 2 for 1, and if you were doing your Kung Fu Black Sash test, that would actually be a thing that happens to you. Okay, so let's try it together. Let's just get to the end of brush knee, punch down. So again, check your double dragons. Make sure you're not too narrow. You can widen your stance just a tiny bit, Mr. Schwinn. Well, wider, like not longer, wider. That looks good. Yes. 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 Okay, everyone looks good. All right, so from here, first thing I want you to do is just stand up. And with that elbow bent. Now, I'm going to shift now from here more into that right leg so I can turn that left toe all the way in. Now I'm going to turn a little bit more to the left. I'm going to put my right fist under the elbow. And then I'm going to sink down and step in. And I'm going to step out, and as my heel contacts is when I block. And then I'm going to shift forward and back fist. And then I turn the hips to strike. Yep, you got it. One more time. All right, so here, first thing, stand up. Turn to the right, left toes in. Turn to the left, right fist under left elbow. Sink down, step in. Step back. When the heel touches, that's when you block. Then shift into the front leg as back strike, back fist. And then turn the hips and the heel and then the toes in as you strike. Yep. Good. One more time.
Yes, ma'am.
Begin, stand up. Turn. Turn the other way. Sink down, step in. Step back and block. Shift forward, back fist. Turn the hips and strike. Yeah. And then this will be chambered back. There you go. Good. Release.
So when you're blocking, is your body kind of like facing this way?
It's a little weird. So you do make a turn there. So yeah, that looks correct.
And then,
Yes. So it's watch it from that side. So as I wind up, I have to turn a little bit because I want to step to double dragon. So I'm here, but I'm blocking. I wouldn't block here. I want to try to clear that elbow. Does that make sense? Because imagine there's a punch coming. Don't get me. But that's a good question. So my foot, you want to kind of step around to be able to get that double dragons, even though my whole body hasn't made it there yet.
yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it's a close in, very kind of, it's not Wing Chun, but it's got kind of a Wing Chun close guard across the body sort of feel to it. Good question. Any other questions?
Hand movement one more time.
Of course. So, here. Here. And this one, the fist is already kind of there for the whole thing. That's one thing that's different. Sink down, get your balance. Block. Strike, back fist. Chop. Got it? Got what you needed?
I'm still trying to shorten it, what I'm doing.
You're shorting it?
Yeah.
Can I see? Do you mind if I see? So that wind up is really going to help you, and the wind up is where the power comes. So, and it also it's really hard to make that 180-degree step without the weight shifting. So, this might benefit you to think of it sort of practically or tactically. So, if I'm here, say there is somebody there. I want that, and as I do that, these toes are going to come in. But then, if I'm doing anything else, this is really where I am. I need to be able to get some power behind it. So I'm going to wind up. So that turn back to the left is your wind up to get some power. So that then I can block, shift, strike. So there's a cascade of energy and body force that comes from that. That doesn't quite get there if it's all in one. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah,
if
I
it's
noticed
just,
that, that's why I was looking at it, trying to figure out.
so it's here, and then I have to wind up,
Mhm.
and then those three can come in sequential with continued force behind them. Does that help?
Yes, ma'am.
Cool. So again, it's that in Tai Chi you always go left to go right to go left, and it's not arbitrary. Sometimes it's to unstick your feet, and you're like, why can't I? Oh, there we go. But it's also it allows you to put force in your body behind, what it is that you're trying to do. Which the whole point of Tai Chi applications is that I'm not using arm strength. I'm using my body, which is why you don't have to be large or crazy strong for it to work for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Does that make sense? All right, we're about out of time, but let's do the minor kicking section one more time.
Yes, ma'am.
So let's start from single whip. And we'll finish with the turnaround strike with back fist this time. So, pat high horse. Separate right foot. Feel your slinky. Slinky from left to right. There we go. And separate left. Turn. Strike with heel, left. Brush knee push, and look where you're gonna go. Brush knee push. Brush knee, punch downward. Turn around, strike with back fist. Stand up and turn. turn to the left, wind up. Sink and step, walk, back fist, strike. Yeah? Better?
Yes, thank you.
Good. Any last questions before we bow out? No?
Good class.
Keep on trucking. Looks good. Alrighty, let's do our life skill. Path of self-mastery requires a focused mind. A focused mind sees no obstacles. The path of self-mastery requires a focused mind. A focused mind sees no obstacles. Path of self-mastery requires a focused mind. A focused mind sees no obstacles. Good. How to advance to intermediate level students and students at home. Good job, everybody.